The ultimate illusion of the billion-dollar biggest boss has just been completely, violently liquidated, and the entire hip-hop world is standing in absolute, paralyzed shock as the federal government strips the crown off the Maybach throne. Yesterday afternoon, the structural foundation of modern luxury rap collapsed into total ruins when fleet arrays of black, red-stamped federal law enforcement vehicles executed a simultaneous tactical raid on multiple premium real estate holdings belonging to William Leonard Roberts II, better known to the world as Rick Ross. This isn't a minor administrative audit or a routine tax misunderstanding. This is a catastrophic, permanent asset freeze and immediate physical seizure executed by highly coordinated federal task forces. And the terrifying twist that has left elite celebrity circles screaming in blind panic? The entire multi-million-dollar structural takedown was reportedly triggered by a nuclear-level act of digital sabotage orchestrated by his most ruthless, calculation-driven adversary, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson. The G-Unit General has reportedly done the impossible, using a massive online streaming platform to leak a highly secure, unredacted offshore data file containing the private asset allocations and hidden corporate bank accounts that Ross has carefully guarded behind luxury brands for 2 decades. An anonymous high-level insider working within the Financial Crimes Division has just leaked the terrifying sequence of the property locks, the luxury car seizures, and the private panic-filled communiques bouncing between major record label boards. Stay with me for the next few minutes, because we are breaking down the hidden tracking data, the exact moment the feds breached the gates of the promised land megamansion, and the devastating legal trap that has permanently frozen the boss persona. You cannot afford to look away for a single fraction of a second. To fully comprehend the sheer magnitude of the total structural annihilation unfolding across the country right now, you have to look at the massive, decades-long psychological warfare that set this financial trap in motion. For over 17 years, Rick Ross and 50 Cent have been locked in the most expensive, deeply personal, and venomous rivalry in the history of the music business. But while other rap feuds exist purely on audio tracks and viral videos, this war has always been fought inside the high-stakes economy of public perception, corporate credibility, and real-world asset metrics. The match was originally struck all the way back in 2008 at the BET Hip Hop Awards when a simple, cold passing glance backstage turned into an absolute declaration of war. Ross immediately launched a lyrical attack with the track Mafia Music in early 2009, attempting to paint himself as an untouchable, ultra-wealthy drug lord who controlled the ports of Miami. But 50 Cent didn't just write a counterverse. He went completely surgical. Within weeks, the G-Unit leader pulled up official Florida Department of Corrections documents, revealing to the entire world that Rick Ross was actually William Roberts, a former correctional officer who had spent years working inside a state prison facility. He branded him with the nickname Officer Ricky, a toxic label designed to permanently bankrupt his street credibility. In any other era, with any other artist, that exposure would have been an absolute career execution. But Rick Ross did something remarkable. He refused to die. He leaned further into the luxury narrative, building Maybach Music Group into an empire, signing massive artists like Meek Mill and Whale, and turning his lifestyle brand into a literal currency. To prove his financial dominance over 50 Cent, Ross purchased a sprawling, 109-room megamansion in Fayetteville, Georgia, famously dubbed the Promised Land, which had ironically been repossessed from boxing legend Evander Holyfield after the estate's massive $500,000 annual maintenance costs bankrupted him. Ross used the property as a visual shield, filming himself relaxing poolside, flaunting diamond-encrusted rings, and bragging about his massive collection of exotic vintage vehicles. Yet, 50 Cent never let go of the throat. Even when 50 Cent suffered massive courtroom defeats, such as the infamous 2015 legal verdict that ordered him to pay $7 million to the mother of Ross's child, subsequently triggering 50 Cent's highly publicized Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing, the G-Unit General simply used the legal system to map out his revenge. Ross spent years mocking 50 Cent's bankruptcy, publicly claiming that his legal team had pulled up 50 Cent's bank records during the discovery phase and felt sorry for how poor he was. But Curtis Jackson was playing a far more dangerous game. He rebuilt his wealth through the massive Power television universe, established a lucrative Las Vegas residency, and constructed a massive media empire. By the time we entered 2026, 50 Cent launched a relentless campaign to dismantle Ross's billionaire image item by item. He mocked Ross for being a mere special guest on the Millennium Tour, openly ridiculed him on Instagram for cutting his own grass to save money on staff, and famously sent him $40,000 as a public insult when viral photos surfaced of the MMG boss waiting to board a commercial flight. The pressure inside Ross's corporate circle had been building like a white-hot pressure cooker for months. The general public thought the lawnmower jokes and the commercial flight memes were just standard celebrity banter. They completely failed to realize that 50 Cent was meticulously, aggressively using his immense media resources to bait Ross into a high-stakes financial trap, a trap that completely snapped shut yesterday when the federal government stepped onto the property lines to strip the boss of his empire. The catastrophic explosion detonated across the digital landscape at exactly 1:14 p.m. yesterday afternoon, causing an immediate freeze in social media traffic. It all started when 50 Cent appeared on a widely circulated private media broadcast and calmly displayed a high-resolution, red-stamped financial ledger directly to the camera lenses. The ledger didn't contain standard company performance charts. It detailed a highly complex network of unlisted corporate bank accounts, secret offshore holdings in the Cayman Islands, and encrypted transaction streams registered under multiple shell corporations co-owned by William Roberts. 50 Cent looked straight into the lens of public opinion and delivered a devastating, cold punchline. "You talked about my bankruptcy records for 10 years, Ricky. You told everybody you looked at my accounts and felt bad for me. Well, my team just dug up your real ledgers from the dark web. The promised land isn't an asset, it's a multi-million-dollar shell game, and the government just got the master keys. Let's see how much grass you can cut when the feds change the locks on the gate." The digital broadcast went absolutely viral in a matter of minutes, amassing an astronomical 4 million views before mainstream hip-hop trade outlets could even draft a response headline. The reaction within the industry was pure, sub-zero terror. This wasn't a standard rap diss or a photoshopped meme. It was a loud, public exposure of highly sensitive financial tracking numbers that the general public was never supposed to see. But then came the first truly shocking, catastrophic twist of this entire unfolding disaster, a twist that turned a messy public relations nightmare into an immediate, total federal execution. Less than 2 hours after the unredacted bank records hit the internet timeline, a fleet of high-security federal law enforcement vehicles, accompanied by armed agents from the Internal Revenue Service and Criminal Investigation Divisions, flooded the main entry gates of the 300-acre Promised Land estate in Georgia. Simultaneous tactical operations were initiated at Ross's premium hangar facility at Miami Opa-locka Airport and his luxury car storage units in Florida. Eyewitnesses at the scene immediately pulled out cell phones to record the terrifying, high-adrenaline panic. The shaky, leaked phone footage shows federal agents deploying heavy-duty physical barricades across the private driveway, while official court enforcers began systematically applying bright yellow, red-stamped, seized by federal order, seals across the glass doors of the mega mansion. The sound of massive flatbed tow trucks roaring up the private highway to forcibly remove Ross's multi-million-dollar collection of customized vintage cars and exotic vehicles echoed through the neighborhood like a siren. The narrative had instantly expanded past a standard hip-hop conflict. It was an absolute, raw liquidation of a celebrity's physical existence. But as the visual footage of the vehicle seizures flooded the internet, an underground legal reporter noticed a highly specific, chilling detail embedded in the official federal asset seizure notice posted on the estate's main gate. The asset freeze wasn't triggered by an ongoing tax audit or standard business debt. According to the red-stamped court paperwork, the federal government had moved forward with an emergency civil asset forfeiture action under a highly restricted federal statute, a statute that is only activated when an entity's corporate bank records match the specific transaction patterns of an active, international money laundering investigation. The realization hit the culture like a thunderbolt. Rick Ross wasn't just facing a bad week of trolling. His entire multi-million-dollar empire was being treated as a literal crime scene by the United States government. The absolute fallout from the simultaneous federal raids did not stay contained to the borders of the Georgia countryside. By midnight, the entire global media ecosystem had transformed into a complete war room. The trending tags #RossAssetsSeized, #50CentLeaks, and #The Promised Land Raided completely took over the global search algorithms, drawing an astronomical 12 million searches as fans and media commentators frantically attempted to verify if the biggest boss had actually been taken into physical custody. Then came the second, completely unexpected twist that turned this federal asset seizure into an absolute emergency for major international corporate brands. A verified, highly respected corporate intelligence account on X published a rapid series of verified corporate registry updates, revealing that in the 4 hours immediately following the federal raid, the parent corporation handling the distribution and licensing for Ross's extensive fast food franchise locations had quietly, aggressively issued a unilateral brand termination notice. The corporate board was moving frantically to completely detach their mainstream brand from Ross's name before the federal asset freeze could legally compromise their own commercial banking channels. The implication was clear, terrifying, and completely undeniable. The real-world income engines that generated the actual revenue to maintain Ross's billionaire lifestyle were being systematically unplugged in the dark. Within minutes of this corporate revelation, a prominent mainstream entertainment news network claimed they had received an anonymous tip from an inner-circle source close to the G-Unit General's media camp. The insider dropped a devastating, secondary bombshell. 50 Cent's tech team had reportedly acquired the unredacted digital database from a compromised offshore banking server months ago, meaning the current bank record leak was just the opening tactical move. The full digital file reportedly contains explicit records of multi-million-dollar wire transfers linking prominent Hollywood elites and international sports figures straight to Ross's private corporate ledger. The reaction from the entertainment world's highest elite spaces immediately boiled over into public view. A prominent talent agency executive, speaking under strict conditions of absolute anonymity to a major entertainment magazine, violently slammed 50 Cent's aggressive tactics, calling it a dangerous, unprecedented execution of the celebrity industry. What Curtis Jackson executed yesterday isn't just a personal attack on a rival, it is a systematic, highly deliberate destruction of the economic pillars of modern hip-hop culture. He has used an unauthorized bank record leak to deliberately trigger an emergency federal asset seizure on a global stage, causing immediate, catastrophic damage to corporate sponsorships, fast food franchises, and international entertainment contracts. If the courts don't step in to freeze this distribution, the entire luxury rap economy is going to completely collapse by the end of the week, the executive stated, their words dripping with pure, unadulterated panic. But the digital momentum was completely, utterly unstoppable. By early this morning, an underground celebrity news network leaked a series of highly frantic, panicked text messages allegedly sent between a legendary Southern producer and a high-ranking record label president. The text chains, filled with panicked, corporate terminology and frantic punctuation, laid out the true level of absolute desperation running through the A-list community. He's got the full offshore ledger from the Cayman accounts. Ross's assets are completely locked down by the feds, and the corporate offices are pulling all the franchise contracts to save themselves. If 50 drops the next part of that database showing the international wire transfers, our entire distribution network is going to face a federal sweep. We need to completely scrub his name from the upcoming album credits before the morning news cycle hits. The narrative had officially escalated past the point of no return. The hidden bank record leak had successfully triggered the most violent credibility and financial panic modern hip-hop had ever witnessed. The global public wasn't just waiting for a standard social media reply anymore. They were watching a live, digital execution of a multi-million-dollar empire where the hunter held all the distribution power. The global hip-hop community, the business world, and the wider international media landscape have completely, violently splintered under the immense weight of this unfolding historical disaster. Social media timelines have become an absolute digital battlefield, with over 20 million users actively engaging in fierce, non-stop debates regarding the sheer destruction of the big boss persona. On one side, A massive, highly energized faction of fans is celebrating the G-Unit General as the ultimate cultural executioner. They view 50 Cent's leak as a historic, long-awaited victory for absolute truth and transparency in an industry that has been notorious for hiding its actual financial vulnerabilities behind expensive public relations styling, rented luxury assets, and superficial image framing for the last 15 years. 50 Cent just did what the banks and the media were too terrified to do for decades. He took down the single loudest boss in hip-hop history with a single unredacted financial receipt. He permanently shattered the entire illusion of the billionaire lifestyle. Give this man a Lifetime Achievement Award right now. A viral post on X-Red, securing over 100,000 reposts in less than 3 hours. However, on the opposite side, an increasingly vocal group of industry traditionalists, legacy artist managers, and Ross's massive global fan base are launching an intense, coordinated backlash against the leak. They claim that 50 Cent is actively crossing a dangerous, malicious moral and professional line, using unauthorized, private banking assets to publicly destroy a man's entire business infrastructure, freeze his personal life, and compromise his legendary musical legacy solely for the sake of driving up streaming metrics, algorithm numbers, and global digital clout. The industry's heavyweights are caught in a terrifying, silent crossfire, completely terrified to say the wrong thing on record or take a side that could destroy their own corporate relationships. Prominent podcasters and media commentators are spending hours dissecting every line of the leaked financial spreadsheets, trying to accurately project the exact legal and financial casualties of the upcoming asset forfeiture trial. DJ Academics went live to an audience of over 400,000 concurrent viewers, breaking down the sheer catastrophic scale of the looming industry fallout. You guys don't understand the actual level of historical math that's happening behind the scenes right now. This isn't just a normal rap beef about a song or a lyric. This is the literal dissolution of one of the biggest independent infrastructure setups in the history of the culture. If the federal government completely locks down his personal real estate, shuts down his airport hangars, and the corporate offices pull the franchise licensing, the MMG brand is completely dead in 48 hours. The labels are panicking. The banks are panicking. Absolutely nobody on the A-list is safe in 2026, Academics shouted, aggressively slamming his hands down on his streaming desk. Even the unwritten codes of the rap world are being aggressively, violently re-examined by cultural critics. Commentary channels are pointing out that 50 Cent has successfully, permanently changed the dynamic of hip-hop conflict. He no longer needs to enter a recording studio to write a diss track to defeat his historical enemies. He simply leaks a physical, time-stamped financial document and lets the federal asset seizure teams do the absolute, permanent physical damage for him. The old guard is shaking its head in disbelief, realizing that the rules of engagement in the culture have permanently, irrevocably changed. At exactly 2:30 p.m. this afternoon, the entire historical narrative violently shifted into a third, completely unprecedented direction that has left legal analysts, corporate lawyers, and Wall Street observers completely frozen with absolute disbelief. A high-ranking corporate compliance officer working within an elite international banking syndicate leaked a highly confidential, internal audit report to a prominent global financial news network. The audit report, stamped with the highest level of federal security markings, revealed that the massive, unredacted offshore bank files displayed by 50 Cent were not dug up by his team from the dark web yesterday afternoon. The incredible, terrifying truth? The digital metadata on the official corporate files reveals that the entire offshore banking database had been quietly, meticulously compiled and submitted to federal investigators over 8 months ago, in late 2025, long before the bank records ever surfaced on the public internet timeline. Let that sink in very carefully. This means the federal government didn't launch the asset seizure yesterday afternoon simply because 50 Cent made a post on Instagram. In fact, the metadata implies a far more intricate, high-stakes corporate alliance. A growing number of legal analysts are now openly suggesting that 50 Cent's media production syndicate had been quietly working in the dark alongside federal financial intelligence units, strategically using his massive public platform to bait Ross into making public statements about his wealth so they could execute a pre-planned asset freeze with absolute legal immunity. But here is the final, most chilling detail that dropped just minutes ago, a revelation that completely changes the stakes of the entire global investigation. A technical court clerk working out of the federal district court noted that the specific corporate file numbers embedded in the seized Promised Land paperwork match a highly confidential, active federal grand jury investigation into international shell company asset concealment and corporate racketeering. This means that the hidden bank records 50 Cent released yesterday afternoon are not just a piece of dirty celebrity gossip. They are core pieces of physical evidence in an active federal criminal case. By putting these specific files into the public domain through 50 Cent's media infrastructure, the legal teams have successfully used the public internet to trigger a permanent, irreversible asset liquidation before the federal grand jury can issue an official indictment against a joint corporate entity. The implications are absolutely mind-blowing. The biggest boss didn't just lose his cars due to a leaked document. His entire commercial existence has been transformed into a high-stakes chess match for absolute physical and financial survival against an incoming federal sweep. The countdown has officially started. The panic is real, the files are verified, and the multi-million-dollar empire is violently fracturing. What happens when the full unedited database file hits the air? Who will be the next legendary celebrity to watch their entire corporate legacy dissolve in high definition? The entertainment industry has officially run out of time, and the G-Unit General is sitting at the master control panel, ready to press play. This is easily the most explosive, high-stakes structural shift in the history of premium entertainment commentary, and the corporate and legal warfare is developing at a white-hot pace. We are actively tracking the international banking movements, asset forfeiture court dockets, and federal compliance leaks to bring you the absolute latest updates the exact second they hit the wire. But we need to hear from you right now because this is a historic cultural moment that is permanently changing the rules of the game, and your perspective matters. Do you believe 50 Cent was secretly working in the dark alongside federal intelligence teams to orchestrate this massive asset seizure? Or do you think Rick Ross can successfully launch a legal counterstrike and reclaim his biggest boss status from the feds? Who do you think is the prominent Hollywood elite desperately trying to scrub their name from the upcoming offshore file leaks? Scroll down to the comment section right now and drop your absolute raw thoughts. Let's get a massive, intelligent debate going under this video. If you want to stay 3 steps ahead of the algorithm, if you want to see the exclusive breakdown of the leaked offshore bank logs the second they are verified, and if you want to get the emergency alerts the moment the next part of the database drops, you need to do 3 critical things right now. Smash that like button to push this truth deep into the global algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell so you never miss a single emergency update. Share this video across every single platform with anyone who thinks a celebrity's secrets are safe. Keep your eyes locked on this channel, keep your notifications turned on, and brace yourselves, because the next 48 hours are going to completely redefine the game. We will see you in the very next episode.